Anyone with a sharp set of eyes has noticed perhaps a mistruth in the Oprah interview.
I understand. Well, because I sift it through. I don't put in stuff which isn't true and can't be checked. And also, you know, I had some admiration for Meghan. She succeeded quite well in her life and her ambition.
The Supreme Court in London had never seen anything like this before. Forget polished Netflix stories and royal fairy tales, because what went down in courtroom number 7 blew every illusion apart. When legendary investigator Tom Bower stood up and dropped 2 names, Trevor Engelson and Operation Cuckoo, the whole room flipped into panic mode. Gasps echoed everywhere. Harry went stiff in his seat, his face turning pale. Meghan rushed out in tears, her perfect public image cracking in front of the world and the monarchy itself. Cameras flashed, whispers exploded, and people knew something massive had just broken loose. This was not gossip or tabloid noise. This was sworn testimony from a man known for taking down powerful figures with solid proof. What he revealed raised serious questions about old private agreements and hidden records that could shake debates around royal lineage and succession, without dragging any innocent member of the next generation into blame or scandal. And just like that, the Sussex brand was on thin ice. For years, Buckingham Palace had stayed silent, locking away secrets that were never meant to surface. Now, Trevor Engelson, Meghan's ex-husband, was suddenly at the center of whispers about power, legacy, and the future of the throne. January 2026 felt heavy over London. Crowds stormed toward the Supreme Court, not for a boring lawsuit, but to witness either the fall of modern royalty or the exposure of a long-buried deception. Inside courtroom 7, journalists packed every seat, pens ready, nerves buzzing. And then Tom Bower walked in, silver hair sharp, eyes colder than steel, a man who doesn't spin stories. He drops bombs. In the world of investigative journalism, Tom Bower doesn't just damage reputations, he ends them with cold precision. He isn't only respected, he's straight up feared, from media tycoons to shady politicians. Anyone who ends up in his sights knows one hard truth. When Tom Bower speaks in court, he brings proof that can't be brushed away.
No, I choose people who don't want to be written about, on the whole, whose lives are shrouded in mystery, and they want to hide their secrets.
He never fires without evidence. He never points a finger without backup. But this time, his target isn't some crooked CEO or dirty corporation. This time, he's aiming at the very roots of the British royal bloodline itself. Look over at the public gallery. Prince Harry sits there, shoulders stiff under his dark suit. The fire he usually throws at the press is gone. In its place is a hollow, haunted look, like a man seconds away from learning something that could wreck his entire world. Next to him, Meghan Markle still holds onto her Hollywood polish, but watch her hands. She's squeezing her handbag so hard her knuckles turn white. That calm, controlled image she built so carefully is cracking fast. Then Tom Bower speaks. His voice is deep, sharp, and brutal. He skips petty drama and tabloid junk. He goes straight for the core, the true bloodline of Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. And when he says the name Trevor Engelson, everything shifts. Meghan's so-called forgotten ex-husband. Then come 3 words that freeze the room. Genetic comparison results. A wave of shock ripples through everyone present. This is no internet rumor anymore. This is sworn courtroom testimony from one of Britain's most trusted investigators. The silence turns terrifying. You can hear the royal legal team gasp. Harry, the man who gave up his titles, his safety, his bond with his father and brother to protect his family, looks like his soul just left his body. His mouth drops open, his eyes go wide, staring into nothing. It's like every strange moment from his past suddenly clicks together. Old doubts, weird timelines, long absences, all snapping into one ugly picture. And then there's Meghan's reaction. No firm denial, no defiant stare, just a total emotional collapse. Tears pour down her face. She jumps to her feet and rushes out, almost running, leaving security stunned behind her. The courtroom door slams shut behind her. Boom! It sounds like the end of a modern Cinderella story. So why now? Why would a journalist like Tom Bower drop a bomb like this at this exact moment? What kind of file could shake an entire dynasty? Operation Cuckoo, the file that changes everything. To understand how deadly this testimony really is, you need to understand the man delivering it. Tom Bower is not some online blogger spinning wild theories. He's a former lawyer, a veteran BBC investigator, and a man who spent decades taking down people who thought they were untouchable. His list of past targets reads like a hall of fame of power: billionaire media owners, corrupt politicians, and untouchable industry giants. Every one of them thought they were protected. Every one of them learned the same hard truth. Tom Bauer never moves unless he already has enough proof to finish the job completely. When he released Revenge in 2022, the world was stunned by what he revealed about Meghan. But what he is laying out now in a London courtroom goes much further than anything in that book. Under intense cross-examination by Meghan's high-powered legal team, Bauer does not flinch. He stays calm, controlled, almost icy. No emotional guesses, no dramatic speeches. Instead, he asks the court clerk to display a large diagram on the courtroom screen. It is a timeline of Meghan Markle's life from 2013 to 2018, a period he calls the record of overlaps. The courtroom falls silent. Bauer focuses on 2013, the year Meghan finalized her divorce from film producer Trevor Engelson. The official story has always been simple. Meghan cut ties, moved on, and stepped into a new life on the path toward royal love. But Bauer presents a very different version of events. He introduces hotel records, verified phone logs, and testimony from former staff members. According to these documents, the connection between Meghan and Trevor never truly ended. People in the courtroom lean forward. This is not rumor. This is not gossip. These are records and witness accounts. Bauer's voice remains steady as he explains what he uncovered. He describes Trevor Engelson's presence lingering in the background of Meghan's relationship with Harry. Between July 2016, when Meghan first met Harry, and the public engagement announcement, there were strange gaps in her filming schedule in Toronto. Gaps that do not make sense on paper. Those same dates quietly line up with unpublicized trips made by one specific person, Trevor Engelson. The atmosphere in the courtroom turns colder. Then Bauer reveals something even more unsettling. He says he gained access to palace gatekeepers, longtime staff members who observed events from behind the velvet curtains of Kensington Palace. These individuals stayed silent for nearly a decade out of loyalty to the crown. But as evidence piled up and chaos grew around the Sussex story, they decided to speak. Think about what that means. Palace insiders, people who dedicated their lives to protecting royal secrets, broke their silence. They crossed centuries of tradition because what they witnessed felt too serious to bury. Bauer makes one thing clear. Any doubts being raised are not about attacking a minor or creating scandal around a minor. He says the questions come from documented timelines, official records, and simple logic. Then he delivers a series of questions that the courtroom cannot ignore. Why is every detail about Archie's birth surrounded by confusion? Why did the usual royal doctors refuse to sign the traditional birth announcement, breaking a practice that lasted for centuries? And most critically, why was key information on the birth certificate changed months after the member of the next generation was born? These are not internet rumors. These are questions raised under oath in a British courtroom. These points form the backbone of Bauer's case, and he does not stop at exposing Meghan. He also quietly dismantles Harry's judgment. Bauer paints Harry as a man pulled into a carefully staged performance, where hard truths about bloodlines were traded for vows of forever. Bauer claims he holds internal reports from royal security forces, reports that were ordered before the wedding. According to him, these files flagged serious concerns about former figures from Meghan's past showing up again right as she was about to marry into the royal family. What makes this testimony heavy is not drama or noise. It is the calm confidence of someone holding receipts. Bauer looks straight at Harry and says words that land like a punch to the chest. The truth doesn't belong to anyone. It simply exists, and my job is to bring it out of the dark cellar where it's been buried. In that moment, people realize this is no longer a family argument. This is history being stripped bare. Tom Bauer is holding the key to a box the royal family has tried for years to keep locked. The Trevor connection. Hollywood's forgotten prince. Why Trevor? What does a film producer from Los Angeles have to do with the British line of succession? These are the questions echoing everywhere, and Bauer says the answers are not pretty. He does not describe Meghan as a helpless target of the media. He describes her as what the evidence points to, a master strategist. Trevor Engelson is not just an ex-husband who can be brushed off. He is the man who stood beside Meghan for nearly a decade, from the days when she was a struggling actress chasing small roles to the moment she hit the spotlight on Suits. Trevor knows her patterns, her habits, her ambitions. He holds the memories no one else has. And most important of all, Bauer says Trevor understands the darker corners of Meghan's climb to power. Corners that Prince Harry, caught in romance and fantasy, may never have seen clearly.
Yes, it is a bad look, especially for Prince Andrew.
Then Bauer drops a question that makes the whole room go still. Could someone as calculated as Meghan really cut off her lifeline before she was sure her new royal future was locked in? According to Bauer, the answer is no. He presents what he calls unusual communication patterns between 2016 and early 2017. Right when Meghan was deep in public romance with Harry, smiling for cameras and headlines, she allegedly kept a quiet channel open with Trevor. Behind the scenes, Bauer claims, Meghan used anonymous email accounts and encrypted messaging apps. For what reason? To talk about Hollywood projects, or to keep a backup plan ready in case the royal dream collapsed. But the core of Bauer's argument is what he calls the timeline of genetics. This is where his case turns cold and surgical. He asks why Meghan pushed Harry to rush into marriage at such a strange, almost frantic pace. Why the hurry? Why lock it down so fast while the relationship was still new and fiery, and before palace advisors had fully stepped in? According to Bauer, the timing itself is the loudest clue of all. The answer Bauer gave in court landed like a blade straight through Harry's chest. He said the truth came from a biological discovery made at the end of 2018. According to Bauer, if Meghan became pregnant during a period when her relationships were still tangled, when her connection with Trevor had not been fully cut off, she would have faced one brutal decision. On one side stood Trevor, the former partner with no status, no power, and no future leverage. On the other side stood Harry, the golden ticket, the man whose name alone could lift her into global fame, wealth, and historical importance. Bauer argued that Meghan's choice was not driven by emotion or love. He said it was driven by power rankings, a cold calculation about which path offered the greatest reward. He made it clear this was not about a simple affair. This went straight to the core of the Succession Act. If what Bauer claimed was true, if Archie carried Trevor Engelson's bloodline and not Harry's, then the member of the next generation would hold no royal blood at all. None. That would mean Archie's place in the line of succession was built on a legal fiction, a constitutional breach of the highest order. Bauer described this as a psychological dissection. He argued that the dramatic 2020 exit from royal duties was not really about racism or privacy, despite what was later said in interviews and documentaries. He claimed it was an escape, a rushed attempt to pull Archie away from royal medical oversight, and to avoid future DNA testing that the palace would almost certainly demand as the young individual grew older, especially if physical traits began to appear that did not resemble Harry. The camera in the courtroom drifted to Harry. This was the same man who left his country, publicly criticized his father, and broke from his brother. The same man who said he was protecting his family. Bauer said Harry may have been protecting a genetic lie without ever knowing it. Then Bauer left one question hanging in the air. Why, when doubts about Archie's bloodline began circulating quietly inside palace walls, did Meghan push so hard to move family to California, a place where privacy laws are stronger, a place where royal authority holds no power, a place where medical records and testing could be shielded from British institutions? Bauer suggested this was not coincidence. He said it looked like containment. The ghost of Trevor Engelson, he argued, was no longer in the past. It was active in the present, and it was tearing apart the Sussex future. Then Bauer turned to Buckingham Palace. He said many people wrongly assume the palace always stays passive during scandals. According to him, the opposite is true. Under Queen Elizabeth II, protecting the bloodline was non-negotiable. He told the court the palace was not naive, and then he dropped the statement that sent a chill through the room. Immediately after Archie was born at Portland Hospital in May 2019, while the public celebrated, a quiet internal process was triggered. Behind palace walls, Bauer claimed, secret genetic testing was set in motion. Not announced, not acknowledged, but logged. Bauer told the court the test was labeled a routine health check, but he said its real purpose was tied to the survival of the monarchy itself. So where are the results now? According to sources Bauer says are connected to palace gatekeepers, the report has never been made public. It was sealed, locked away, stored in a special safe deep inside the palace wine cellar, a place only the highest-ranking family members can access. That raises the obvious question, why hide it? If the results showed that Archie did not carry Windsor blood, why was the truth not revealed back in 2019, when the fallout might have been easier to manage? Bauer gave a blunt answer: political survival. He asked the court to imagine the situation in 2019. The royal family was already under heavy pressure from the scandal surrounding Prince Andrew. Public trust was hanging by a thread. If another scandal, Hadoyle scandal, had broken at the same time, one involving paternity inside the direct line of succession, Bauer argued it could have destroyed the monarchy's credibility completely. He said King Charles, who was still Prince of Wales at the time, and Prince William were faced with a brutal choice: tell the truth and risk a collapse in public faith, or stay silent and protect the institution. According to Bauer, they chose silence. not out of cruelty, out of fear. He called it compassion mixed with institutional self-preservation. But he said that silence created something dangerous. A media monster. The palace's refusal to act became a shield around Meghan. Bauer claimed she understood the palace would never risk exposing the truth because the damage would be too great. And from that protected position, he said, counterattacks against the royal family began. Through interviews, through documentaries, through carefully timed public statements, all delivered with devastating effect. Then Bauer shifted focus to Prince Harry. And this is where his account turns deeply personal. He said Harry may be the most tragic figure in the entire story. Trapped in what Bauer called a glass cage of lies, Harry fights the press. He fights his own family. He gives up his country, his role, and his identity to protect his family, all while possibly defending something he does not even know is untrue. Bauer said Harry trusted Meghan completely. He believed in his family. He believed in fatherhood. He believed in the story he was given. And if Bauer is right, he may have been turned into a tool in a much larger strategy without ever realizing it. Bauer told the court the hidden DNA report is not just an accusation. It is a warning about how empty royal rituals and fairy tale stories can be when power and secrecy take over. If what he claims is true, then Archie, the member of the next generation listed 7th in line to the throne, would not be connected to the Windsor bloodline at all. That does not make the young individual guilty of anything, but it would mean the institution built a public narrative on something false. And when this claim surfaced in court in January 2026, Bauer argued it exposed the cost of years of silence.
I just found that Harry and Meghan, having said that they were setting up in California to spread wellness and love and sincerity, have done the exact opposite.
A cost that had grown into a massive debt, a debt that now threatens to tear everything apart. Then he turned to the silence coming from Montecito. In diplomacy and royal politics, silence is often treated as wisdom. But after his testimony, that silence no longer looks neutral. It begins to look like avoidance, or fear, or quiet admission. Bauer ended this section by urging the court to strip emotion out of the story and examine the facts with cold logic. Meghan Markle has never been shy about using the courts. She has sued major newspapers over small privacy claims. She has filed defamation cases over unflattering photos. She took legal action against a publication for printing a private letter to her father. Yet now she is completely silent. Silent in the face of an accusation that could destroy her public reputation and reshape her son's entire future. That silence raises a serious question. Why has there been no immediate defamation lawsuit against Tom Bauer? Why has the Sussex office, known for reacting fast and aggressively to rumors, allowed the names Trevor Engelson and Operation Cuckoo to spread across global media for weeks? The fastest and most effective way to shut Bauer down would be simple: a public DNA test, transparent, observed by independent medical authorities. That single act would end every theory overnight. But instead, there has been retreat, withdrawal, silence. And that silence creates a new question. Could it be that such evidence cannot be presented because the truth does not support their version of events? Look at Meghan's past legal behavior. It has always followed the same pattern: immediate action, maximum pressure, overwhelming force. The silence now feels loud precisely because it breaks that pattern. Now turn to Harry. Bauer describes him as the most tragic figure in this entire story. Sources close to him say he is living in near isolation at his Montecito home, cut off, withdrawn. Try to imagine his position. A man who gave up his royal titles, his military protection, his public role, his relationship with his father and brother, his country, all to protect the family he loved. And now he faces the possibility that those sacrifices were built on something untrue. If Archie does not carry Windsor blood, the consequences go far beyond embarrassment or scandal. It would not just mean the loss of royal titles or a place in the line of succession. It would be a brutal emotional shock for any family. And for Harry, it would be devastating. He would realize he had unknowingly defended something false at the highest constitutional level. That would leave him with no clear way back to the royal family, no clear way back to the life he destroyed to protect his own. Bauer says the truth always finds a crack, and he believes that crack has now opened. He says the genetic documents he referenced will eventually surface, and if they do, Parliament will be forced to act. At that point, this will no longer be one family's private drama. It will become a national legitimacy crisis. The monarchy itself would be dragged into legal and constitutional review. Secrets can be hidden behind palace walls. They can be locked inside wine cellars. They can be protected by American privacy laws. But history shows they never stay buried forever.
In the hope that somebody will come along and say, there's money in this, let's support Meghan and her as ever brand.
I thought she behaved so badly, and Harry too.
So who holds the final card? Is it Tom Bower with his network of palace insiders? Is it Buckingham Palace, willing to protect the monarchy at any cost? Or is it Meghan herself, possibly holding proof that could either clear her name completely or end her public life for good? The session in the London courtroom may have ended, but the shockwaves are far from over. They will ripple through the British monarchy for decades. Parliamentary inquiries are being called for. Constitutional experts are being consulted. The line of succession itself could face review and possibly even rewriting. Consider what that would mean. If Parliament were forced to investigate, they would have to subpoena DNA evidence. They would need to question Trevor Engelson under oath. They would have to examine Meghan's movements, communications, and relationships during the critical years of 2016 to 2018. At that point, this is no longer tabloid speculation. It becomes an official government probe into the legitimacy of a royal heir. The constitutional crisis would be unprecedented in modern British history. For Harry, the psychological impact could be crushing. Every moment with Archie could be tinged with doubt. Every photograph, every milestone, every proud father moment could be built on something false. A man who gave up everything to protect his family may discover he was defending a lie. And what about Archie himself? If Bower is correct, this innocent young one becomes the center of a scandal he had no role in creating. His understanding of who he is and where he comes from would be upended. The potential psychological consequences could be severe and lasting. What happens next is still unfolding. Legal proceedings are far from over. Bower's testimony was only the opening salvo. Sources suggest he has additional evidence yet to be revealed. Documents, communications, and possibly even testimony from Trevor Engelson himself. The Sussex legal team faces a nearly impossible choice. If they sue for defamation, they open themselves to discovery, meaning Bower's lawyers could legally compel DNA testing, access to communications, and testimony under oath. If they remain silent, the accusations continue to circulate, gaining credibility every day. Buckingham Palace faces its own nightmare. Confirm Bower's claims, and they admit to years of covering up fraud and risk invalidating Archie's place in the line of succession. Deny the claims without proof, and they risk evidence being released that makes them appear complicit. The only apparent winners may be the British tabloids, enjoying one of their biggest moments since the death of Princess Diana. For everyone else, Harry, Meghan, Archie, the royal family, and the monarchy itself, this is a disaster of historic proportions. Will the truth finally emerge from classified files, or will it remain scattered fragments hidden by power, legal maneuvering, and institutional preservation? As we process this testimony, the questions become urgent. If Tom Bower were lying or exaggerating, why hasn't he been sued into oblivion? His statements were made under oath. False testimony carries serious penalties, including charges of perjury. Would a journalist of his reputation risk career and freedom on fabrications? And if Meghan has nothing to hide, why hasn't she immediately produced DNA evidence to end all doubts? One test, conducted by independent labs under neutral supervision, could resolve this entire crisis. The silence now points to two possible explanations. Either it is a legal strategy, or something far more troubling. If the palace truly holds evidence locked in a safe proving Archie carries Windsor blood, then one question cannot be avoided. Why not release it? What reason could possibly justify keeping that evidence secret if it would clear the Sussex name and end all speculation? And if Harry truly believes Archie is his biological son, then why did he look so devastated in those courtroom photographs? Why the hollow expression? Why the haunted stare? Why the inability to meet anyone's eyes? These questions have no comfortable answers. And that is exactly why this story has captured global attention so completely. What began as a royal romance, celebrated worldwide as a modern fairy tale, now risks ending as the greatest deception in contemporary monarchy history. Tom Bower's testimony pulled back the curtain on what may be a carefully built illusion. Whether you accept his claims or view them as a calculated attack on the Sussex family, one fact cannot be denied. The questions he raised are not going away. They will echo for years. They will cast doubt on everything people thought they knew about Harry and Meghan's story. As Bower said in court, the truth does not belong to anyone. It simply exists. And no amount of public relations campaigns, legal threats, or strategic silence can keep it buried forever. For Harry, a man who wanted nothing more than to protect his family from the kind of media pressure he believes destroyed his mother, the irony is brutal. His effort to shield his loved ones from scrutiny may have created the exact conditions for the most intense scrutiny imaginable. For Meghan, the actress who became a princess and then walked away from royalty to build her own empire, the stakes could not be higher. If Bauer's claims are confirmed, everything she built collapses at once. Her brand, her credibility, her future. For Archie, an innocent young one trapped in the fallout of adult decisions and power games, the future becomes uncertain and potentially painful. None of this is the young individual's fault. And no matter what the truth turns out to be, the emotional impact could be lasting. For the British monarchy, an institution that has survived wars, scandals, and centuries of upheaval, this may be the ultimate stress test. In an age of DNA testing and demands for total transparency, the rules of secrecy no longer work the way they once did. This crisis may determine whether the monarchy can survive in its modern form. We will continue to follow this story and bring you the latest developments as they unfold. The truth is coming. Whether through court records, DNA evidence, or whistleblower testimony, it is moving closer. Now the question turns to you. Do you believe Tom Bauer's testimony? Or do you think this is a last attempt to destroy the Sussex family? Do you think Meghan should release DNA evidence to end the debate? Do you believe Harry knew the truth, or is he the ultimate victim in this story? Share your thoughts. What does this mean for the future of the monarchy, and can the institution survive if these allegations prove true? One thing is certain, this storm is only beginning, and before it ends, everything people thought they knew about the most famous couple in the world may be revealed as a carefully constructed lie. If you want to stay updated on every development in this shocking royal saga, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Hit the like button if you want more exclusive insights. The truth is unfolding, and we'll be bringing it straight to you.